Hello, everyone. I hope you are doing really great. And today with the question, what is the human soul? How is it organized? I got this question recently, and actually I've been asked this already earlier many times. And by the way, I would be happy if you will send me your questions. Then I will consider to do the further videos with your topics. So, speaking about the human soul, the first question in my understanding would be to understand a human being a bit differently as it is usually is. So, for example, who are you? On that question, who are you? Many people answering showing just the physical body, and the understanding would be just physical body. And when I'm looking on a human being, then I see that for me, a human being, something much more than just physicality. And eventually we can come to understanding that there is something much more than just physical. What exactly? Thinking, feelings or emotions, impulses to action and vitality. These are, let's say, some of the parts in us which are not physical. And most of us associate soul with the emotions. Let's look deeper on that. And first, I would like to look at this word soul. So when you look at definition, then we see something like soul is the non-physical, incorporeal, not physical, supersensible part of every human being. It is the middle part in us, the mediator, the connector between the lower, the physical body, and the higher part. Even from that, we can understand the importance of the understanding of our soul, or deepening that question, because if there's a problems in the mediator, then those problems are going and down to physical body and up to the something else, something higher, for example, to the head, or some psychiatric, psychological problems. The origin of the word soul in German language is Seele, and that's originated from or belonging to the sea or lake. And that can be connected with the pre-Celtic, very long ago here, the pre-Celtic belief that the souls emerge from and return to the sacred lakes. In Greek, psyche, ancient Greek, psyche is to breathe. And historically speaking about the soul, we understand that it is responsible and for the emotions, sensations, desires, perceptions, character, consciousness, memory, thinking, reasoning. So much. Plato, in the 5th and 4th centuries before Christ, Plato was speaking about soul in his theory of soul. Plato, by the way, was an Athenian philosopher during the classical period in ancient Greek. And he founded in his academy, which was the first institution of higher learning in the Western world. And he was the pupil of Socrates. So Plato and Socrates, you might remember this fresco by Raphael in Vatican Palace, that there's a massive fresco, the School of Athens, and in the middle of this fresco there's a Plato and Aristotle. Yeah, and Socrates, I think, is also somewhere there. Yeah, so Plato's theory of soul considered psyche as an essence of a person. He considered this essence to be incorporeal, eternal dweller of our being. Dweller of our being. that even after death, that the soul is still continue its existence. And after that, as body die, the soul is continually reborn in subsequent bodies, so further incarnations. And Platonic soul consists of 3 parts. I would propose to look a bit deeper into that palette or choreography of the soul. And let me ask you the first question. Where do you feel? Where do you love? Where are your emotions? And I will say most of the people will answer here, on the heart area. And indeed, this area, in the connection with our heart, this is the area of our normal life of the emotions. This is the each day, everyday activity in the connection with heart, in the connection with this middle part of the body in a way. So, but we also have low emotions or kind of desires or negative emotions. And they are more in the connection with the body, don't they? For example, anger. When a person is angry, then he or she can get the red color on the skin. So that emotional life will come so deep to the physical body, so it can manifest itself in the physical even. Where it is situated, also in the heart. Let's think more about that. Let's research that more. So, for example, when we know that this part of our soul, let's say, these emotions, low emotions, are very much in the connection with our physical state. For example, when someone is hungry, then it is very often this person can become angry. Look, in the English language, those 2 words are so close: hungry, angry. So we can already have some ideas about that. And it is indeed like that. So we might all know that or have heard that the best way to speak with your boss after lunch, that will be easier. And not only for your boss, but all of us, it will be a bit easier with our emotions when we're not hungry. And this part is situated, it's kind of the part of the soul which is responsible for the low emotions is situated below the heart, mainly in the area of the stomach. It's this part is actually bigger, but I would say the focus point is below the heart, the low emotions. Okay, let's look on the soul deeper. We can ask ourselves, do we have in the life of our soul something more than just everyday emotions, than just low emotions? Do we have something else? Yes, we do. We have responsibility for moral and high emotional thinking, feeling, and action. In this area of our soul, we're considering the needs of the others. In this part of the soul, our moral and ethical impulses exist or living or dwelling, and we can develop them there. Here we speak about think, feel, and act for others and with others. This is togetherness quality. And on that part of the soul, we speak about aims, which we can form as a group or individually. But these aims are higher than just everyday activity. So it pulls us higher. So, for example, when we stand for the rights of the others, especially when there's no personal interest or benefit. And this part of the soul, which is much more in the connection with our consciousness part of the soul, consciousness part of the soul, it's situated also higher than the heart. look, we already have something in our research. But we also mentioned thinking. Yes, indeed, our thinking is mainly located on the head area and connected with the mind and regulates the other parts of the soul. And this part of the soul loves truth and knowledge and strive to know it. And Plato, by the way, called it logistikon. So this is logical mind, reasoning. Is it still our soul? Because it sounds a bit dry, isn't it? Yeah, if we continue that research, we see that in our thinking, there are thoughts which have a connection with our emotions still. For example, if someone would be thinking something, let's say jealousy, then the behavior of this person would be not pure, this behavior would be not out of the balance, but out of some negative thinking. And that would be, of course, not a good behavior. It would be expected, not a good behavior here. So, and this is still a part of the soul, still thinking, but it's a part of the soul in the connection with our emotions. And we, as the humans, we also have a higher level of thinking, which is, for example, abstract thinking or thinking, logical thinking or reasoning. That's why here in our thinking, we see that we have emotional thinking and we have something higher. So which means here, this part is kind of and there and here and there, so and part of the soul thinking, but also it is something which is for many of us is almost like an individual part in us, isn't it? And Plato, which was about almost 2,500 years ago, he was saying this part of the soul was quite small on his time. But now, from all of these years, all of these hundreds and even a couple of more than 2,000 years, the whole humanity developed further. And now thinking is very active. We're living in the epoch of thinking. It is so active that most of the people will distinguish thinking and feelings as being really as a different part. Yeah. Why it is important to understand deeper our inner soul life. I would like to share this idea, which has resonated with me very strongly. When the emotions are not in balance, then we speak about a disease, a problems. Steiner speaks about that in his meditative considerations and instructions in Deepen the Art of Healing. And he's saying, if an abnormal life of feelings arises in a person, then the vital body cannot establish an equilibrium. The feelings then go deeply, go to the physical body, into an organ even, and the growth of disease occurs. So here we see the direct connection in between our emotions and our illnesses, because the soul quality is exactly this mediator in between, as I mentioned in the beginning, mediator in between below and between up. So that's why it is very important to understand what do we have in our soul, and of course, how can we continue and improve that work. Let's look at that further. And thank you very much for listening to me and joining me today. Have a great day.